Sometimes you wait this long and don't get into the flow. Yep, those gamble sellouts. Oh, my goodness. Talk about flow. Is that the checkout line? Gamble right here on defense. Just exposed the interior right there and kept on. Wow. What a finish with two hands. Shot blocker. That's incredible right there. Well, that's the moment. Play is alive, by the way. How about this night? The Trojans advance right after the Bruins advanced earlier this evening as well. Made history. Yeah.
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So, yes, as you saw right there, USC advanced to the Elite Eight. Didn't really want to do a video before their game tomorrow, but had a lot of stuff to put out there. Might as well put this front and forward. Celebrate that they have at least made it to the final 8 teams in this 68 team tournament, I believe it is nowadays. And yeah, it's a great accomplishment. Tajidi went off, had 20 points. Evan Mobley wasn't one of the higher scorers, but still had 6 assists at the center position and still had rebounds, did really good on the defensive side, you know, altering shots. So still proving he's one of the better players. I think he should technically win the player of the year because of, well, it's either him or someone from Gonzaga, who that's their next opponent, who is the #1 overall team in this tournament. So yeah, I think whoever wins that game should win player of the year because they're the ones that have gotten their teams farther this year. And the regular season was just crazy, everybody playing different types of people, but this type of style one-on-one, you can tell who's the better player. So I think that's how it goes. But yeah, it's their first first Elite Eight in like 20 plus, like around 20 years right now exactly. It's pretty crazy, but glad they're there, and hopefully they can take down the ultimate giant that there is, and we'll see what they can do. Then yes, when it comes to Duke basketball, both Jordan Goldwire and Jamin Brakefield, the freshman, the other one is a senior, but he gets an extra year of eligibility. They are both looking to transfer out of Duke. I was hoping Brakefield would stay. I think he has more talent than some of the other freshmen there, but of course I think he knows that, and that's why he's only going to probably go to another school for 1 year, probably head to the NBA. But good luck to both of them. I'm kind of glad to see Goldwire go because I don't think he's as great of a defensive player as people say he is, and he's not as consistent offensively shooting wise. So good luck to you, brother. Then yes, the Lakers finally get someone from the buyout market. They did lose out to LaMarcus Aldridge to the Nets, which if the Nets don't win the title this year with the amount of talent they have, then that would be the biggest choke job ever. But luckily the Lakers were able to get one of these talented players in the buyout market in Andre Drummond, who's a center. So right away he could average 15 and 10, a couple blocks, alter a lot of shots for them down low, playing with AD. So it's a great fit. They definitely need like a 3-and-D wing type of player, like a small forward. We'll see what's available coming up in buyout stuff, but yeah, as of right now, they still have one more spot left on their roster. And the Chargers signed 2 players. They signed an outside linebacker, Kyler Fackrell. I believe that's what it is. He played with the Giants last year. He was I think he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers. So once again, another ex-Packer coming to the Chargers. It's crazy, but he played very well playing with a talented guy like Leonard Williams at USC with the Giants. So hopefully playing with a guy like Bosa will help out his production as well and get a lot of those extra sacks that Bosa helps him get. And then they also signed actually a backup quarterback in Chase Daniel, who's been around. He's always been around everywhere as a backup. Had his chance as a starter, but he knows he's a backup now. It's always good to have a type of guy like that as good insurance. It's only like a 1-year deal, 1.5, and he knows the system. He was with New Orleans with the offensive coordinator for a couple years, so it's good to have a guy back there to help Herbert learn it even quicker. Then the Anaheim Ducks had a nice series against the St. Louis Blues. Finally, you could say that they were able to win 2 games. The first game they won 3-2 the other day, and then just I believe yesterday or the other day it was 4-1 the Ducks, which is good to see. Hopefully they can continue the momentum. But they also made a trade before these games. They traded Antoine Morand and a 7th round conditional pick in the future for Alexander Volkov. So I don't know if he's offense or defensive, player, but a lot of people are saying that the Ducks got the better player and they made the better trade in this situation. So that's all I needed to hear, and hopefully he can provide a spark for them. Then the LA Lakers, yes, they finally snapped their 4-game losing streak, beating LeBron's old team, the Cavs, but of course both AD and LeBron were out. Luckily they were able to pull away in this one. It's just good to see them being able to do that against a crappy team, so I'm glad that happened. And then they also beat up on the Magic, who I'll tell you why they're beat up, but yeah, they've traded a lot of players and they've been playing a lot of not well-known guys very recently. And yes, luckily the Lakers were able to get both these W's against some struggling lower level NBA teams. Even though they don't even have their 2 top players, they were still able to get the W's, which is all I care about. And it definitely shows that once these guys are back and you add Andre Drummond into the fold as well, then the Lakers could definitely be a dangerous team coming out of the West, in my opinion, of course. And they were 2-3 without LeBron's injury so far, so not too bad. A nice 2-game winning streak going on right here. And yes, as I mentioned, Magic making trades. So yes, ex-USC power forward Nikola Vucevic of the Magic, he was traded to the Chicago Bulls. And of course it affected another school because he was traded for Wendell Carter Jr., the power forward out of Duke, who was with Chicago. So both my teams, guys from X teams, got traded there, which is pretty crazy. And then Gary Trent Jr. as well, the shooting guard out of Duke, who was with Portland, but then got traded in the trade deadline to Toronto. So it's good to see him get finally some playing time. He could probably get more starts, see what he can do. I think he's either, his contract is up this year or next year, so they'll see if they want to re-sign him or not, but should be very cool to see. Then the NFL is going to expand to 17-game regular season. I don't know if it's officially happening next season or the following, but yes, they will cut down from 4 preseason games down to 3, and then they will add that 17th game. I guess it's all about money, so more people are going to watch a regular season game than a preseason game. So hopefully that's enough money to compensate for these guys to play that much and put their bodies on the line. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that they did that so quickly. And then Anthony Davis, speaking of Lakers injured guys, was finally able to have some on-court workouts, some more physical stuff instead of just solo stuff. So that's always good to hear. It's always definitely a lot closer to him coming back a lot sooner, which is what is great. So hopefully that does happen sooner than expected. And yes, the USC pro dates for the football guys, a lot of guys did very well to help their draft stock. Even Elijah Vera Tucker, the offensive lineman who's projected in the first round, looked very good. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the wide receiver, he was projected like 3rd or 4th, but he might be late 1st, early 2nd now with his performance as well. Even Talanoa Hufanga, the safety, showed what he's been working on and looks really good. He could be another early 2nd day pick as well. So a lot of these guys, even Jay Tufele, the top defensive lineman who stood out, who didn't play this last season, looked really freaking good. So he's probably back in the conversation for late 1st, early 2nd. So yes, hopefully a lot of these USC guys will get picked high. We'll see if any of them land on the Chargers, but yeah, definitely looking forward to the draft at the end of the month or end of April. Then, yeah, speaking of the Chargers and the draft, they are looking at cornerback J.C. Horn a little bit more out of South Carolina. I remember him because I was watching him again in a game against Auburn, and he had like 3 interceptions. So he's a pretty talented guy, especially going up against a guy like Seth Williams on the opposite side in that game. He pretty much owned him, and he's been doing pretty good. He has really good size for that cornerback position and can move very well. I don't know. I think you could get him or even Asante Samuel. I think it's what it is. Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State looked very well in his pro day from Florida State. So you could get him in a couple later rounds too, I think, and still select your offensive lineman to shore up your offensive line trouble. So I don't know. We'll see what they could do. But yes, finishes off both Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. The other day they did beat up the Lakers pretty bad. I think they both had combined like 60 some odd points, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. The ex Lakers and another Duke player just killing on the Lakers, but what do you expect without two of the top guys out there? And it's not like the Pelicans are a bad team. They're still a good, young, talented team, and now they have better coaching, in my opinion. But as of course, with that momentum, Zion has just been killing everybody. I mean, I think the last 2 games I saw, he's been averaging like 35 points both games. At least the first one, he had like 39, which is a new career high for him. And I think the next one he had like 38. So he's been going off. That's good to see, especially even after the All-Star break. So hopefully that's some momentum for him to end the season well. Hopefully don't have to play them in the playoffs, but I still think the Lakers can beat them. But I think they're just either right outside of the playoffs or their very last spot. So we'll see how that goes when that happens next month. But yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Fight on.